Hey everyone, I'm Lyle Burks with the Viking Speaks. And this is the 48 Laws of Power. Hey everyone, Lyle Burks with the Viking Speaks. Welcome back to day 48 of the 90-day video challenge. We're back with 48 Laws of Power, Law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victims. One sincere and honest move will cover over dozens of dishonest ones. Open-hearted gestures of honesty and generosity bring down the guard of even the most suspicious people. Once your selective honesty opens a hole in their armor, you can deceive and manipulate them at will. A timely gift, a Trojan horse, will serve the same purpose. All right, so he covers a story about Al Capone. And I got to get this guy's name right because it's something I've heard before. I never put a name to it. So Count Victor Lustig, however you say it. So this guy was well-dressed, well-spoken, and presented himself as someone of a bit of a scholar and cultural individual. Came in with a colonial type, just a bit of an air about him. He had a way of speaking. And he came up to Al Capone and met him and asked for $50,000, promising he could double it in 60 days. Now, Capone was used to people being dishonest, taking advantage of him, and usually trying to take chunks of his money. So, under normal circumstances, he would have either denied it or had the man killed. But there was something about this guy that he was like, you know what, you don't look like my usual character, so let's give it a run. So he let him borrow the $50,000 in return for doubling it in 60 days. Lustig went to the bank, put the money in a safety deposit box, never touched it, went on about his business. Now, he was actually a very skilled master of psychology. He understood human motivation. And he was a conman, one of the greatest of his time, actually. And he took off and went on about his way to other ventures. So at the end of the 60 days, he came back and he pulled the money and he reported back to Capone. He came back and said, "Sir, I'm sorry to report, things didn't work out. I wasn't able to double your money." Now, just as Capone stands up out of his chair, ready to put an end to this guy, drown him in the nearest river, Lustig pulls out the 50 grand and gives it back to him. Stunned, Capone sits down and tells him, "Look, I thought for sure you were a con man. I expected either 100 grand or zero. But this wasn't prepared." So as Lustig gets up to leave, he says, "I wish I could have doubled your money for you and for me. Really could have used it, but sadly it didn't work out. I appreciate your time." He gets up to leave. Capone is baffled. Like, holy cow, are you actually real? He counts out $5,000 out of the 50 and gives it to him out of his just, being bewildered, just the sake of like, dude, you're actually really honest. Look, here, go for it. Hopefully it helps you out. At the end of the day, that's all Lustig was after. He knew that if he could show that Capone that he was honest right out of the gate, he would get what he wanted. Because Capone was used to dealing with snakes and wolves and crooks all over the place. So alternatively, same guy. He once impersonated a piece of the French government, I believe it was, and he tried to sell the Eiffel Tower. Now, granted, it wasn't his to sell, but he was impersonating a government official. And at the day of the sale, this guy he was selling it to got suspicious, thought he was a con man. So Lustig actually flipped it around, and he began to fuss about. He came in close. He began to fuss about how awful it was working with the government. They paid him so little and they treated him like dirt. And in acting like a dishonest government person who had a bit of a chip on his shoulder and was just looking to get his, he gained trust and honesty in the other person who had the opinion that there was no such thing as an honest government official. So you can use it either way, and it can serve your benefit. But practice extreme caution with this. You can plan a Trojan horse, whether it's a gesture or a gift. There was a Chinese emperor, I forget his name in there, Du Wing or something of that nature. He wanted to attack the Hu Empire, but he never told anybody he wanted to. So he had his daughter marry the son of the Hu Empire. And one day shortly after, he asked his council, I feel like battle, who should have war? Who should we invade? And one of his councilmen said the Hu Empire. Now, he gave the Mr. Wang got furious. Ended up having that guy beheaded. The leader, the emperor of the Hu Empire, heard about this, saw all the gestures with the marriage, all the offerings and everything, and took it as a sign of peace and camaraderie. Didn't think anything of it. As a result, he never put up his defenses. A few days later, they attacked the Hu Empire, annihilated it completely, and never released those lands. So, use it with caution, because if you're ever discovered, not only will you always be viewed as a dishonest individual, but you'll also be met with hatred, disgust, and pure, I'm not even sure any other words, just you'll be looked at as putrid. So be careful when you use this one. I feel like this is one of the more advanced laws. If you're not skilled enough, don't attempt. So anyway, that's all I got for tonight. Hope you all have a wonderful one. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Much love. Bye for now.